Hey everybody! In today's video, we're going to do just some fun and super easy mixed media cards. This is a hand-painted journal. I will put a link to the Etsy shop where I got this. I have 6 or 7 of this woman's journals. They're incredible. But she sends them wrapped in these German newspapers, which I love, so I'm going to be using those. And my inspiration for this project is these beautiful butterfly stickers that I'm actually going to mimic with a kind of a DIY builder sentiment. I have these little sentiments that have matching dies, and they cut them all out at once. It's super convenient. So I will just sort of mimic them. Now, I started by gluing these German newspapers. They have kind of a rosy color. It's a really interesting paper. It's not like newspaper in the US. And so I wanted to kind of tone down some of that rosiness. So I'm using some Chalky Gesso to do that. Just add a little bit more white to this sort of rosy. I know it looks kind of yellow here in the video, but it actually has a very pink tint to it. And I wanted to just neutralize that a little bit, but I still wanted this fun German text and photographs to show through. Now, I only use one glue stick. I tested at some point over the last couple of years, I bought like every glue stick available on the market and I tested them all and they were all terrible, except one, which also I think is from Germany. And so I just used the glue stick to adhere the newspaper onto just random pieces of cardstock that I had. I try to I have way too much colored cardstock and I never use it. So I try to use it up on projects like this just to kind of get it out of my room. But I love the way that this looks and I love that it's in a different language. I had a little piece left over, so I'm going to turn that into a tag. And it was just the right size for that. I just didn't want to waste any of these paper because it was from my friend who makes these journals and I love it. Her stuff is beautiful. I actually saw a journal that she had done with a phoenix for someone else. It was a custom for somebody else. And I got her to recreate it for me. So she'll do custom ones too. So if there's like a past one that you see and you like, just ask her and she will do it for you. Now, you want to make sure that these are dry before you go on to the next step, which all I'm going to do is just some simple splattering on these. I'm going to do some mark making, just kind of bolder mark making with this thick Posca paint marker. And I like to just tap it with another pen, just like really get the tip, get a bunch of paint to come out. I do this with the white one all the time. You've probably seen it if you've seen my videos. And then just tap it and you'll get these great little dots all over everything. I'm kind of protecting my work surface with my craft mat, which desperately needs to be cleaned, but there never seems to be time for that. And then I just want to make marks. These markers, the tip on this marker makes these perfect circles that I love, but I also want to make just some kind of larger abstract, stripes and forms and just to get a little more boldness on there than just the dots. But the dots are so easy and so pretty. This is a fairly fast drying acrylic. However, I still like to hit this with my heat gun before going on to the next step if I'm sitting here and doing what I'm doing right now with you and doing it kind of in quick succession. So those are all done and my little tag is done, and I'll just dry those real quickly before we go on to the next part. I will speed this up because this is super boring. Now, the reason that I used a glue stick for the newspaper is because the newspaper is very thin. So I wanted to be able to make sure that I can make it as wrinkle-free as possible. And that's why you see my little scraper over there. Now, I wanted to talk to you about photopolymer stamps and the way they're made. Sometimes when you get a photopolymer stamp and you go to stamp it the first time, you'll see like a little blob, like you're about to see from one of these letters. There's a little blob on the letter A right there. And that usually means there's a little extra piece of photopolymer stuck on there. It comes right off. It's usually just like a little bit left over from the manufacturing process. You could just kind of look at your stamps before you use them and see if there's any of that. They're not defective. Sometimes they just a little extra blob gets on there. So you just pull that off and it's fine. I know a lot of people that craft are just assume that the stamp is defective. It's not necessarily defective. It might just have a little friend hanging on. Now, I love these dies because they cut everything at once. And so you just line up the dies with the sentiments. And I'm going to cut away some of the extra cardstock here so that I can die cut on my desk and not go into the other room. And I usually put these at a little bit of an angle going into the machine. It just makes them cut better. I'm not sure why. And these are really thick. So the edge banding around the individual dies are really thick so they don't flex. I have had some sentiment dies that the metal is too thin and they will warp as they're going through the machine, and then I don't get a good cut. And so these were a big deal for me because they're very, very sturdy. They have enough metal on there that they don't bend. So 5 stars to you guys for making these dies. Now, you'll notice that I have this fun kind of crystallized holographic paper. And it looks so much like the holographic paper on the butterfly stickers that I'm going to recreate with this. This is a 3-layer sentiment, but see, it looks just like that, like fractal pattern or holographic paper in the back of the butterflies. So the cardstock, sometimes if you're using black cardstock, you'll get a little fractured pieces of paper on the edges. It seems to be more noticeable with black. So I usually just sand my black die cuts and then brush them off with a soft brush. And that gets rid of all the extra little fuzzies that you can see sometimes when you're die cutting black cardstock. So now I will put the top layer on. This is a really I love this font. I would like this font on my computer. It's really pretty. So then you pair it up with one of the little strip sentiments. So I'm going to do the Miss You Lots. And now I just have to pick out butterflies for each of these. These are black. These come in a bunch of different colors. Okay, so I got a few of the colors and of course, I love the black ones. But the black ones have a little tint of blue in all of them. So it's really the perfect thing for me. Best of both worlds, black and white and a tiny bit of blue. So the text on this page actually kind of makes this easy to line up. So I'm just going to pop my magnets on there. And then I changed my mind on the butterfly. I'm going to go with this one. You can see that fun hologram paper. And then you just stick down the lower layers. And what's cool is it will mail flat, but it's this 3D butterfly and the wings just stay popped up. It's so cute. So there you go. Here are the finished cards. Head over to my blog for more information, and thanks so much for watching.